Hello, everyone, and welcome back to new number ones for the week of May the 20th. My name is Corey, and you're here with me now. And the new number one for the week is Image Comics Odin, written by Marguerite Bennett and James Tynion IV, with art by Letizia Cadonici and coloring by Jordi Belair. Normally, I don't throw out props to the colorist. Maybe it's something I should probably do more in the future, but I always do like to call out Jordi Belair because I find her work to be so dynamic and always worth calling out. So if you're going to read Odin, the first thing you know is that the colors are very bold, very dynamic. Let's get that out of the way first and foremost. I had a kind of an odd experience reading this book, and I just didn't really know what I was getting into. I did not read any sort of a summary or a synopsis before I jumped into it. So I kind of just went in completely fresh faced. And in retrospect, if I had read, I don't know if that would have made a difference for me. First and foremost, this is a story about a young investigative journalist who has infiltrated a group of neo Nazi punks, thinking that she's going to be writing a sort of an op ed about why is Gen Z falling into these really extreme subcultures, and finds herself being led to the Norwegian woods on a bizarre vision quest to potentially resurrect a god. Um, that being said, I hate to say it because, so James Tynion the Fourth is one of the premier horror writers in comics today. He's a protege of Scott Snyder, who is also one of the premier, he's one of the big names in horror comics at the moment when he's not leading the absolute DC universe over at DC Comics. So Tynan has a lot of reputation. He's got a lot of success behind him. Marguerite Bennett is the woman behind Witchblade, for God's sake. So, she knows what she's talking about. Um, I just didn't. The story for me just wasn't really doing much. There was like the first 2/3 of the story was fine. It was pretty good, actually. And I think it has to do with, like, when I talk about new number ones, again, we like to run them down by a couple of factors. What makes a good new number one? Strong characters, strong world. Is there enough meat on the bone? Strong characters, we spend 2/3 of the book kind of getting to know this group of neo-Nazis. You spend a lot of time with our main character. You get to meet the leader of this other party. You get to meet little snippets of the others, which kind of gives you that horror movie vibe of, like, some of these are only a stereotype that exists long enough to get killed. And that's fine. It's to be expected. It's horror. It's what they do. The world that they're in is very much a modern day setting. They outright call out the pandemic as a reason why they feel like this Generation Z group of kids, young adults, are falling into these fringes. That's great too. It's just the last third of the book feels really unearned. So I mentioned the synopsis of the book, and pretty much the synopsis was it's Green Room meets Midsummer. I can absolutely see Green Room with the neo-Nazi punks that you're meeting at the very beginning. Uh, the Midsummer, I see what they're going for. Essentially, what happens is as they arrive to this campground to find this place where they're going to summon a god, they drink some mead that's been tainted with their own blood, and they go on a weird psychedelic vision quest and wake up stranded alone in the woods with no idea where they are, and having partially consumed and killed one of their friends. Spoiler alert. I felt that last third wasn't earned, and it felt hollow because it was a character we didn't really know anything about. And I just there's not enough here that makes me feel like I want to keep reading it. And I guess that's my last stamp on this book. There wasn't enough here that made me say I really want to read the next 8 issues of Odin, which is a 9-part miniseries. So yeah, I mean, if you like James Tynion the Fourth, you're gonna really enjoy it. The art by Letizia Cadonici is very good, great art. It's very pretty, and like I said, that combined with Jordi Belair's coloring is phenomenal stuff. But ultimately, I feel like the story is lacking something, at least from the first issue as a jumping on point that makes me want to see this through and see how our main character is going to survive this experience. Because I'm not getting supernatural horror so much as I'm getting, like, Lost in the Woods because of unpreparedness vibes, and that is what it is. So that's going to do us here for new number ones for the week. We just dropped an Avengers auction on the main show. This upcoming show, we're going to do a deep dive into Watchmen, which I think is a good conversation because Dylan had never seen Watchmen before or read Watchmen before. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I hope you guys have a good one and enjoy yourselves, and I'll see you next week. Later.